The is ever a dangerous period, especially for agriculture workers care their fields, and the fall proven particularly brutal. The instance was excess, but not distinctive. Nigeria is amongst the countries lowest struck, by which several social public health experts are inviting and plague. But in spite the scope of the meltdown, specialists in the box say the answer has been very much missing. Abandoned meltdown lost statistic for sub-Saharan Africa are nearly surely underestimates, as lot victims are never written. Data of public health centers is bounded to patients who visited the hospital or clinic, that is part of the full patients or less than, says Dr. Jean-Philippe Chippo, a guideline poison specialist and founding member of the African Community of Venomology, ASV. Portion of the cause for the is how several victims choose to trip conventional healers, says Chippo, that can be a deadly judgment, as quick-acting poison can murder during several hours. Else is how in isolation communities fight to accessing care means in expert personnel learn to detect and consider snakebites. The is a illness comprising the poorest that the treat is costly and hardly understood by the public health authorities, public health staff and populations, says Chippo. In these facilities, it does not seem on the order of business of public health authorities. Chippo says ignore manifests in a absence of concern in the question amongst governments through the area. Diagnostic and treat of snakebites are no much longer learned in care and nurse schools. No nation has a policy for fight envenomation. Down there is no politics for choosing and distribution antivenoms. The absence of asset and examination frequently results in patients' reception the incorrect antitoxin, says Thea Lishkakone, a businesswoman who set the Swaziland antitoxin basis to ensure treat and social formation. Down there is a large issue of fridges supplied in means how really tea be down there, she says. Each they are inappropriate or dong tea lid the law kind. They might be expensive but they win tea neutralize poison or rescue lives. Lishkakone agrees how ignore is at the cardiac of the meltdown. Snakebite is a extremely and tragically abandoned illness since it affects impoverished human beings who include no vote, she says. Schedule of activity. The WHO as well authorized a work team to build a schedule of activity to gear the meltdown. One attention will be society betrothal, says Dr. David Williams, chief of the Australia Poison Study Block at the College of Melbourne and now armchair of the WHO work team, of hopeful human beings to trip clinics quite rather than believe healers, to tiring protection shoes in the fields, and serpent-proofing their homes. The team will as well do recommendations to enhance the quality assurance of learning for care workers' behavior in snakebites, as social public health infrastructure facilities. A key item of the will be to set guidance to enhance manufacture, regulatory and quality assurance monitoring of antivenoms, says Williams, to escape bad-suited means achieving patients. Williams does not accuse the business. He estimates fair 1% of sting cases in sub-Saharan Africa were purified in FAV Africa as few patients could provide the $500 price of treat, and argues how producers requirement incentives. Business manufacturers include to do a income, he says. We don't wish to strengthen manufacturers out by manufacturing it unfeasible to make antitoxin. The marketplace as necessary supporting an incentive. National power. Several serpent poison specialists trust the period is mature for African governments to bring their trust on world narcotic companies by evolving national power. The is the prospect to begin making antivenoms in Africa, says Dr. Abdulrazak Habib, a CEO of the World Snakebite Lead who plant close in Nigeria's Ministry of Public Health. Southward Africa is the just sub-Saharan African nation to make antitoxin, but Habib notes how Nigeria has length prosecuted its own growth policy. In the 1990s, by the government nested $3 million in partnerships in across-the-sea institutions how received 2 efficient antivenoms, but unsuccessful to construct on how advance. Same issue was how expertise transmission was on the recent web page of the policy paper, says Habib. By currently, Nigeria should be completely making these means. Habib as well laments how a Center for Progressive Learning and Study in Snakebites was constructed in Nigeria, but never utilized. Innovative scientists are as well chasing aspiring attempts to changing the base for antitoxin manufacture how has remained the identical with the 19th age. The main technique is to squirt little doses of poison in big animals such as horses and later gather the resulting antibodies of their bloodstream, up distillation them in antitoxin for humane utilize. Researchers at the Engineering College of Denmark are with artificial biological to make humane-based antitoxin, by mix poison in recombinant antibodies obtained of humane cells. They trust the will supply antitoxin how is expensive and more secure rather than equine-based way, that is related in party effects such as anaphylactic upheaval. We already controlled to evolve fully humane antibodies how can neutralize serpent impurities at low doses, consisting the dark mamba, he says. I don't trust were departure to be injection horses ever. Both of projects are manufacturing advance, though critics propose they are a diversion of more than immediate priorities. Same issue is not the quality assurance or properties of the antivenoms but in their allocation wherever they are necessary, says Chippo. Same question is the economical pattern, not the technique. Disposable tragic opinions differ on the top policy to conduct, but down there is a unanimity amongst expert how the largest crucial demand is for betrothal, of communities residing in top risk areas, of domestic governments and public health ministries, and critically of donors. Down there is common disappointment how the snakebite meltdown has not brought the nursing given to inferior killers. Snakes are accountable for 40 times more than deaths world rather than landmines, a reason adoptee by the UK King household. Campaigners are trying to increase the social section of the question, such as via the new document, Protocol to Dead, showing lot of the guideline specialists. Williams is sure how a specific policy coordinated via the WHO team will do pitch to donors facilitating. He believes the fight versus snakebite envenomation could yet be converted in more financing, strategically attached. We could bring deaths of snakebite by part during a brief time of period if we had the asset, says Williams. I would expect in 2 or 3 years we could be speaking on main changes. But if drama advance is reached it will future allocate the tragic of the snakebite meltdown, how it could include been avoiding.